There is so much to get to on this episode of Jets Class. Thank you guys so much for being along for the ride. Robert Saleh, he is out. Jeff Ulbrich, he is in. It has been a whirlwind week for the Jets, but guess what? They are just one game out of first place in the AFC East, and that's where we're starting with the Takeoff. The jokes are going to be made. This seems to be something that only happens to the Jets. You're already reading it on X. You're probably hearing it from your friends. You're hearing it at the water cooler at work. But I think the one thing to remember, in spite of how bad the Jets looked against the Broncos, in spite of that loss against the London, despite the fact that they fired their coach so early in this season with Super Bowl aspirations, they are still just one game out of first place in the AFC East. They have a game against a team, the Buffalo Bills, a team they've played particularly well against, especially at home the last couple of years, coming to their house on Monday night, and a victory can right all wrongs. It can reset this ship. It can take the directionless, rudderless roster that the Jets have right now, where it seems like they are just completely out of whack, and put them back on the course to what they believe is going to be a championship run. Again, I know that seems asinine and crazy right now, but that truly is the situation that the Jets find themselves in. The storylines are there, the craziness is there, but a win on Monday erases all of that. It is time now for 4 Downs, and it is presented by Monmouth University. Explore further at monmouth.edu/amplified. You guys know how this works. It's 4 topics on the Jets, my thoughts on those topics, and it starts right now with First Down. We can talk a lot about Robert Saleh's flaws as a head coach, and there were a few, but I still think the Jets have the exact same problems right now with Jeff Ulbrich as the interim head coach as they did when Saleh was there. It centers entirely around this offense, which lacks creativity, which lacks innovation, which is boring and predictable, and is among the reasons why this team is in a rut this year. The Jets need to do something to change that. Hold up. Flag on the play. The referee says we need to redo our outdated first down. The Jets have, in fact, made a change at play caller. Out is Nathaniel Hackett, in is Todd Downing, and this was a move they needed to make. I know that Woody Johnson believed that Jeff Ulbrich will provide a jolt, but truly nothing was going to change with this offense unless they made an adjustment at play caller. Now, what is this offense going to look like? I don't know how much adjustments they can make in 1 week in terms of adding in more motion, truly changing a scheme that they've been repping and installing dating back to OTAs, minicamp, and training camp. But this is a team now that I believe is truly going to emphasize the ground game, because if you look at all the stops that Todd Downing has been an offensive coordinator, whether it was with the Raiders when he had Marshawn Lynch or Derrick Henry and the Titans, they have featured the ground game. I expect that to continue with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. Woody Johnson said that this Jets roster is far too talented. It's one of the most talented teams that he has ever seen assembled for New York, and that's one of the reasons why he wanted a change. He believed they should be playing better. He thinks that Jeff Ulbrich is going to give them that burst. He just might, because talking to multiple players through over the years about Ulbrich, they have always sang his praises. Specifically, DJ Reed had a conversation with him last year, and he described Ulbrich as a head coach. One of the things that he respected most about him is that he's the guy who consistently and constantly listens to his players. He wants to know what he can do to make them better, and I think that'll resonate well in this locker room. He's still the name that everyone wants to know about. It is Devonte Adams. From my understanding, the Jets are absolutely still involved in this, but it really just comes down to money. Right now, the Raiders, I am told, want to not only receive a second-round pick, but the acquiring team for Devonte Adams to pay the entirety of his contract. There is no team, Jets or anyone else interested in Adams, that is going to be willing to do that. So until the Raiders agree to eat some of this contract, I don't necessarily see Adams coming to the Jets anytime soon. We can talk about the coaching staff. We can talk about who's calling the plays. But the Jets absolutely need to find a way to keep Aaron Rodgers upright moving forward. This is a copycat league in the NFL. So the moment that the Broncos put out that defensive front that gave Rodgers and the Jets protection so many issues, and then the Minnesota Vikings duplicated it in London, you know the Buffalo Bills are going to be doing it on Monday night as well. Aaron Rodgers, I do still believe, is one of the most talented throwers of the football in the entire league. He has more than enough mobility to move within the pocket, but his 40-year-old body cannot withstand the beating he has taken over the last 8 quarters. 21 quarterback hits, 9 sacks. Eventually, one of these times, Rodgers is not going to get up. The Jets got lucky when he did against the Broncos, lucky when he did against the Vikings. If they can't keep him upright and off the turf, one of these times, they're going to be without their quarterback, and we're going to be seeing Tyrod Taylor. Well, the Jets have a new head coach. The Jets have a new offensive play caller. So let's open up this mailbag and take a couple questions here to assess your concerns on the state of this team. They're exactly the same, if not higher. Woody Johnson, in his conference call with reporters, said that he believes this is one of the most talented Jets teams he's ever been associated with. So even though Robert Saleh is out, Jeff Ulbrich's in, Downing is replacing Hackett, this is a team that ownership still believes can and should compete for not just the playoffs, but a legitimate Super Bowl run. So that's what the expectations are. They're unchanged. If anything, I believe that having Johnson speak the way that he did in that conference call turned the pressure up a little bit. Their strength was that they had Derrick Henry, an all-world future Hall of Famer, in the backfield. And what Todd Downing did was turn around and hand the ball to him time and time and time again. Now, I don't think that Ryan Tannehill, who was his quarterback those 2 years, was ever an elite-level player. But Downing did design an offense that worked and functioned with him under center. So things were pretty good in 2021, less good in 2022 when some injuries had to play Malik Willis and things fell apart a little bit. But yeah, I think that he's an offensive coordinator that's going to rely on the ground game. And even if you go back to his stop in 2017 with the Raiders and Marshawn Lynch, they had a pretty decent ground attack then too. So this is going to be a run-first club with Downing. Yeah, if the Jets can go out there and they can beat the Buffalo Bills and they can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers and they can beat the New England Patriots, then I absolutely believe that they are headed to the playoffs. I'm not as worried about that game against the Texans, even if they lose it, just because the back half of their schedule lightens up quite a bit. But those are the 2 games that I need to see the Jets win, because if they lose those 2, if they fall to the Bills to go to 2-4 and then lose to the Steelers, Saleh, no Saleh, Hackett, no Hackett, it could be a long year for the Jets. Jet fans are not going to love this answer, but yes, I absolutely believe that the Jets offense would be in a healthier and better position had they kept Mike LaFleur, because LaFleur's offensive scheme was the scheme that the NFL is headed towards. It's the motions, it's the creativity, it's designing ways to get your players open, not just relying on them to win their one-on-one battles. That's what the best teams in the leagues are doing. The 49ers, the Packers, that kind of scheme, obviously, unironically, uncoincidentally, that's what LaFleur is coming from. That's what he was bred from. That's where he cut his teeth, was in those style offenses. Now, the Jets were never going to get Aaron Rodgers if they kept LaFleur, because obviously Rodgers wasn't going to go from one LaFleur brother who he had issues with to another LaFleur brother he was going to have issues with. But in that alternate reality where LaFleur remains the Jets offensive coordinator, Todd Downing is brought in as a consultant. That was still going to happen. And the quarterback of this team, it's Derek Carr. Thank you guys so much for joining this episode of Jets Class. It was an absolute blast as always. If you want to catch all previous episodes of Jets Class, you can across SNY's digital platforms. That is SNY.TV, that is Facebook, that is X, and that is YouTube. If you are going to watch us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and give our videos a little like to help spread us to other Jet fans. If you want to catch more of me and the rest of the Jets pregame live crew, you can before the Jets take on the Bills Monday night. That is Jets pregame live. We'll see you guys then.